So the most popular DC parlor game for the past year since the president came back into office has been this question of which cabinet secretary or which top Trump official does he fire first? There have been, you guys probably know, a bunch of controversies. There was that early Signalgate controversy with Michael Waltz and Pete Hegseth. There was that hubbub between Sean Duffy, the transportation secretary, and the new NASA chief that roiled some people in the inner circle. There was, I know a lot of you love Kash Patel, but he has had a bunch of controversies himself, a lot of questions about his job. But yesterday, Kristi Noem took the prize, guys. The president fired her and is now going to be replacing her with one of his top MAGA allies on Capitol Hill, who, by the way, is one of the nicest members of Congress. I can say that because I've covered a lot of them. Welcome to the Huddle.
Was it Sean Fain or no? Not that it was. That's not. I'm mixing names. The Teamster.
Sean Fain.
Oh, Brian. Yeah, but no. Which one is the one that Markwayne Mullin famously said, let's take it outside right now.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I get that. That's a political fight with somebody on a political issue. That
I know. I'm just saying. The guy's an MMA
genuinely is a very nice man.
Yeah.
I'll just say, because we were just talking about this, the unemployment numbers are not pretty. The expectation was to go up 50,000. They went down 92,000. The unemployment rate rose up by 0.1% to 4.4. And I think I just heard they revised the last 2 months down 69,000. So not, as we said last time.
Let's get back to Markwayne Mullin. Mullin.
Just as January was above expectation, this is below. You can't read too much into one, but that's not going to make people feel good.
I like you said, Dan, like you said before the show, the administration and a lot of people thought this was going to be a good report today, which is something obviously they need when it comes to, economic concerns with gas prices going up because of the war, et cetera. But they'll keep on. Put a pin in that. We can come back to it later in the show.
We're good. We're good.
So guys, we're going to talk about Noem's ouster. We're going to talk about the president's pick to replace replace her. And this sort of question about, I'm really curious Sean's take on this. You don't have to give it now, but later in the show, is this just the beginning? Because now that he's fired one, I'm like, okay, he's done it. He was holding back for a long time. Does this mean we could see others? We'll get to that. And also late last night, Texas Republican Tony Gonzalez, who, by the way, finally copped to that affair he had with the staffer who later died by suicide. He announced he is retiring despite advancing to the runoff. This is after leadership sort of pressured him to say he's got to go. Good riddance to him. No one's going to miss him given what he did here. We're going to also dig into the latest with Iran, including the president's proclamation that he, and he alone, will pick the next leader. Easier said than done. And we'll do winners, losers of the week and a couple of other things. But just on a lighthearted note, it is Friday and it is going to be 70 degrees apparently this weekend. Dan, great running weather for you.
Not 70 here in New York, but I am actually flying to the West Coast tomorrow. So I will be out next week. I will be getting up on Sean Spicer Vegas hours and to do the show with one of our kids and have a family event out there. So looking forward to warm weather. The high one of the days out there is supposed to be 85. So
when Dan is cranky next week, now you guys all know why, because he's going to have zero sleep for
You know what? By the way, I had dinner with a friend Tuesday, and he was in Vegas, and I said, blah, blah, blah. I just been there. And he goes, the interesting thing is, he goes, all I want to do when I woke up is get a cup of coffee. And there's no coffee maker. And I said, where did you stay? I go, we literally have had this conversation on the Huddle about how there's no coffee makers, and it was a different hotel. So this must be a thing.
Well, the beauty of Los Angeles is I've already identified a Starbucks open 24/7, place the order, be there at 4 a.m. We'll be ready to go.
There's the one beautiful thing about Los Angeles.
You placed your order in advance.
I didn't place it, but I talked to the hotel, made sure there was one, made sure you could place an order. And God bless Los Angeles. There are DoorDash delivery people.
I figured you're more like an Erewhon kind of guy. I got to be honest.
Sean, very quickly, weekend plans?
Sean is on the bus with the girls soccer team headed to North Carolina. So I thoughts and prayers.
You're going to have a lot of like Taylor Swift songs and stuff like that. That'll be
yeah, but I will tell you, my daughter already, I keep saying, you know what we should do? I've got a game. And she's like, Daddy, you do not talk the whole time.
Sean's wearing his Journey t-shirt. He's going to have the headphones.
Oh, yeah, we're going to have some fun. Wait till these kids hear the old man stories. When I was a kid, we didn't have the internet. We talked on the bus.
Channel your inner teenage girl, Sean. I'm excited to see what you like when you come back. Okay, let's look at the day book.
By the way, remember, pet peeve, Sean Spicer, number 17 pet peeve. Daylight savings. I love getting the extra hour, but I'm telling you.
Is that this weekend?
Yeah.
Thank you. You're welcome. It is this weekend. I do love the get the extra hour. I hate the lose the hour of sleep. Fall forward. I stand today. President Trump, make this happen.
Yeah.
Good luck. They've been talking about it for years. It hasn't moved. Okay. The day book. We just to come back to the jobs numbers. Sean, do you think the White House, like they're focused on the war right now? Like, what do they even do at this point to pivot on this?
Talk about the war.
Well, it was funny because it was Dan yesterday who said, by the way, there's going to be a good report and it's probably not going to get a lot of attention. I mean, again, I don't necessarily, I would argue, I mean, look, they need to keep talking about this. Half of being a politician is, the sort of the feel you're paying Bill Clinton. I understand. I'm working hard. I've got a plan. I'm doing this, this, and this. So I expect there to be more. It's kind of like when the story yesterday about the White House really looking for ways to take gas prices down. It's not, I mean, there's only so much you can actually do. There's a lot that you can say you're doing.
Yeah. Noon, all three alive Democratic presidents are heading to the funeral of Jesse Jackson, Biden, Obama, Clinton. 2:30, the president's going to be meeting with Defense Secretary Hegseth. There's going to be a bunch of defense manufacturing executives at the White House to discuss production, although I believe Hegseth said yesterday that they don't have a shortage of munitions. That's been something that a lot of people are discussing right now, whether we're depleting a stockpile, that there's going to need to be some sort of emergency.
I think Ukraine was what started that discussion. And now the question is, what are we firing? There's a different, javelins versus tomahawks. And so what there may or may not be a shortage of is interesting.
Dan, jump in. You were going to say something.
Oh, I mean, it's just, it's everything. It's the stuff that's gone to Ukraine. It's the stuff that's gone all over the Middle East. I mean, all of our allies are asking for more Patriots and air defense systems. It's just, this goes to the idea of other people paying for their fair share. Like, it all comes from us.
3:30, the president's going to be meeting with Interior Secretary Burgum. He's going to be participating at 4 at a savings college sports roundtable before departing the White House.
By the way, Dan and I talked about this, Rachel. This NIL, college football, like, it is an issue that maybe the one bipartisan issue that you could see some action on that doesn't rise to the level of serious attention. Big deal on a lot of fronts. And from my standpoint as a board member of the Naval Academy, like, this is a big deal because these guys are trying to encroach on other things. The president issued this executive order trying to hold the Army-Navy game sacrosanct in December. But I'm just telling you, this is actually one of those issues that I wonder how many political reporters get the impact that college sports really has on congressional delegations and how they vote and especially those big leagues.
Well, they always do those friendly little wagers where
no. This is a big wager.
Yeah, no. This is.
I'm not familiar with the issue. Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah. I mean, it's huge. I think the problem is they want an antitrust exemption to regulate athletes and how much they're paid, but there aren't a lot of people that want to put a cap on it because the universities have so taken advantage of these kids for so long that the idea that a coach is going to get 15 million, but you're going to tell the players they can only get so much. It's a mess.
Yeah,
it is a mess.
Yeah.
And by the way, it has completely destroyed college sports. The notion of anyone getting an education is a joke at the D1 level of certain sports, I would probably say.
Yep.
All right, well, we'll keep watching that. So it's Friday, which means if you're a premium subscriber, today you're going to get some special time with Sean Spicer after the show. If you are not signed up, it's $10 a month, $100 a year. Go sign up now. And if you're not signed up, but you want to support the show in another way, go and follow our YouTube channel. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at the DC Huddle. When you're on YouTube and searching any support, it's free. It helps us get more eyes on our show, and we really appreciate that. Let's do a quick word on Cozy Earth. I didn't ask who wants to do Cozy Earth today. Sean, Dan.
Sure. I'd love to do it. Yeah. I mean, since we're all getting ready to travel, what better thing to do than put on your Sean, are you going to wear the joggers this weekend at all, either at the games or when traveling or
yeah, the game is one thing, although the temperature is interesting. I got to figure out, I'm going to go on Cozy Earth today and see what I can do for shorts, because that's the one thing I don't have, Dan.
Ooh.
Shorts from Cozy Earth. I got shorts, trust me.
Yeah.
But I need to figure that out because it's going to be 70. And I will say on the bus, the joggers, yes.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like when you get on the plane, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Well, that's yeah.
I got to go Cozy Earth pants on the plane.
There you go. Well,
level of etiquette there.
As the season warms up here, make sure you get, as we've talked about before, some cooler sheets. If you had bought the heavier ones in the winter, think about the warmer temperatures. Nothing worse than being uncomfortably warm in bed. The candles, the joggers. There are many great things at Cozy Earth. Go check it out, CozyEarth.com, and use the code HUDDLE for up to 20% off. Thanks to Cozy Earth. I need to get some of those joggers.
Okay, let's dig in right now. So Kristi Noem out, and it was, as one or more than one, actually, a few Trump officials have said to me, a death by 1,000 cuts. I just want to emphasize here at the top of this that top White House and administration officials, they have wanted her out for months. I mean, they have been upset about her parading around in a cowboy hat and sort of making the department look silly. They haven't been happy with her handling of Minnesota, calling those 2 Americans who died domestic terrorists, accusing Alex Preddy of brandishing a gun when he did not do that. There was the $300 million jet fleet that she was buying for herself, which apparently upset even Russ Vought over at OMB. There were rumors of the affair with Corey Lewandowski. I mean, it goes on. And the one thing it sounds like that sort of kept her in this job was the fact that Democrats were going after her so hard. It made the president feel sympathetic toward her plight, and he stuck with her for a while. But the thing that did her in was her shameless self-promotion during those hearings, during, the campaign ad saying the president knew and approved that she was plastering her face all across the country for $220 million of taxpayer money a year. And ultimately that led to her getting pushed out. The president saw it, didn't like it, pushed her out. Sean, contrary to the reputation, though, that the president has from his apprentice days, you're fired, he doesn't like firing people. And the fact that he did this right now, when we're in the middle of a war with Iran, when there are threats to the homeland, people are concerned about, security here. That just tells you how bad the situation had gotten with Kristi Noem.
Well, look, I mean, one, as I said before, when you get on the backside of the wave, it's only a matter of time. 2, there wasn't a lot of goodwill, as you kind of mentioned. That's the problem, is that when you don't, I mean, the one thing I'll say about Kristi Noem on the positive side is she beyond what you had said, she had a record of results on the president's signature issue. Being able to say, Mr. President, the border is closed. Right. No one's coming in, and we're doing it. Like, that probably was the number one. And then I would say number 2 was Corey being so close to the president, probably continued to save her because he could get access to him to explain what was happening or not, et cetera. I mean, it's a double-edged sword. He was both a help and a hindrance at the same time. But the problem is that, to your point, it was death by 1,000 cuts. Every time you turned around, it was the ads, it was the killings. And when Tom Homan went out there and really showed you can do this, you can achieve results by being mature and statesman-like, et cetera, without being hyperbolic and, then I think her fate was sealed, because it was like, okay, you're not the only one who can do this. The ad thing, I still think perplexes me. Number one, you saw the comment last night. The president said, I ran a campaign for less money than this. I know he was joking.
Oh, I missed that one. He did a lot of interviews yesterday.
Not just that guy's a billionaire. He's got the frugalness When it comes to spending, and I've seen him in the campaign, he'll be like, why can't we get that cheaper? What can we do? When it comes to, I think he really was kind of offended by this. Number one, on the number. Two, to the point that we made, you're running around on ads on Fox News with the Mount Rushmore behind you in a cowboy hat saying, don't come. I actually thought that was more of a Chamber of Commerce ad. I was like, hey, that place looks really nice. Where is it? I'd like to go. Then I don't want to come here. And by the way, I don't think a ton of people who are trying to come in the country illegally are like turning on Fox News to watch Hannity. No offense to Sean, he's a friend. I think they're probably watching Univision and Telemundo, if TV at all. It just, the thing just reeked so bad. And I'll be honest with you. I think if the Dems flip the Senate or the House, but the Senate in particular, I would be very careful if I were, her senior team.
So this is exactly where I was going to go with Dan here on this, just very quickly. And can I want to mention here, though, that we learned yesterday that Senator Kennedy did call the White House before he did this, before he trapped her at this hearing, was not waived off. So this notion of an inside job that Sean was mentioning yesterday, totally 100% true. But Dan, there are now suggestions that she lied under oath because the president has come out and said, I did not approve these ads, even though she said under oath that he did. Do you think Democrats will continue to pursue this, if they end up flipping the majorities of either chamber?
Oh, yeah. Just go to the Jets. I mean, I've been putting this on X. It's been getting lost in the shuffle. If Pete Buttigieg had got 3 jets, not 1, not 2, but 3, including, I keep saying this, a Boeing business jet with a king-size bed.
It's a queen-size bed, Dan.
It's a queen.
I thought it was, are you sure? I thought it was a king. Okay.
Okay. And it has a bar. And
of course it does.
Gotta have the bar.
How are you going to drink?
Here's the thing that I think Democrats say to themselves, right? They smell blood. Yeah. Everything you guys just described, none of that was new. None of it. Everything has been known about the ad. The ads have been running for months, right? The plane purchases have been documented ongoing, God bless the Wall Street Journal now, for months. They acted because they can feel the political heat building about look, their poll numbers are terrible. The war at best is break even. They know they're probably going to lose the House. They're worried about the Senate. It's the political urgency of we got to cut bait and go, right? And I think, to me, it was remarkable to hear conservative media yesterday start to turn on Kristi Noem on a dime and say, well, Tom Homan played a big role on the border, and here are all the problems people had with her. I mean, you're just like, it's like state-run media. You're 100% on board, and then you completely get off board because the king says, that's it, you're out.
I know a lot of Democrats are saying, let me just, a lot of Democrats are saying they're going to come after her if they flip the chambers. But they're going to have so much to investigate, Dan.
Well, that's going to be the challenge.
I just remember during Trump 1, and that was my beat. I covered oversight. And, Democrats, they had laundry lists of everything they want to investigate, and they had to narrow them considerably. I mean, they had dozens and dozens of investigations and document requests. They only ended up really pursuing maybe 6 to 10.
Sure,
they're going to go after corporate America. They're going to go after the president for this and that and that. And she'll be a has-been by that time.
Well, but here's the thing, though, Rachel. The
optics, I agree. Terrible.
Well, no, but the jets are something that resonate with the average American. It's potent. It's total government waste.
Sure.
I mean, go back to when Barack Obama, famously after they got elected in 2008, he and Michelle went to New York on a date. Do you guys remember the blowback that they used
for real?
A government plane to go to New York City?
I do not remember
You're going to hear about the cost of flying Air Force One to Mar-a-Lago every weekend.
Yep.
You're going to hear about all the people who are chartering jets. Oh, by the way, our friends at the Wall Street Journal said, the first lady has been using the Boeing business jet to go to New York that even Donald Trump had concerns with. It's all the idea of it is waste. It's abuse. It's them. The money's going to them, not you. That frame is going to be put around for 2028. And I know Sean will say all the reasons the Republicans will scream in the other direction. But J.D. Vance is going to have to answer to the whole administration, all this money, the ad money, the planes, everything.
Dan loves J.D. Vance.
By the way, you had me until J.D. Look,
someday they're going to have to introduce the two of them. I think they have kind of liking each other, actually.
2 quick points. One, I will say another massive PR mistake on their behalf. They leaked, Dan brought this up, they leaked that they had offered the First Lady the jet to use, right?
And she used it.
And she used it, which, by the way, the only way that was is if, like, which has someone's, you know, and I'm not saying anyone's name. That
Starts with the C, last name L.
Yeah, could be anybody. But like anybody. That will not be forgotten. And I'm telling you this one.
They just brought her into it. Nasty.
I would rather cross Donald Trump 10 times before I cross Mrs. Trump.
Yeah.
Like, she is one of the kindest, most pleasant women to ever deal with. I would have never had my job without her. But I will tell you, lesson learned to anyone going to government: do not cross that woman. And I mean, so I mean, like I said, she was the kindest, caring person, and I owe a lot to her. But I would never, ever cross her. And the idea that they brought her in that story, the last thing I'll say is the jets, everything else, have nothing on the contracts. And that's where the hunting is going to go.
100%.
No bid contracts, the relationship between some people at the highest levels and their friends. If I got a contract, because it's not even them, the way this all works is they go find, I mean, this is go back and look at several. And again, I was at House Government Reform and Oversight. They'll go get the weak link and get those guys to bend. It's like a prosecution. And they say, how did you get that contract? Do you want to go to jail? And so they'll break you, and then they move up the chain.
And it's so, again, covered congressional oversight forever. Do you remember Solyndra and like how much controversy there was?
What do you think?
Seriously, like it looks quaint compared to what this is. Literally, they narrowed the bidding to like 3 government potential contractors who could win. One of them apparently didn't even have like a headquarters or a website and had just been created days before. They get this contract. Oh, turns out there's some sort of political connection to, you know, Noem's allies. It looks terrible. Totally agree. Okay, I'm told we have a poly market on
by the way, the poly market one. You said this at the beginning, and my bad for not flagging this. I'll own this. But poly market has been at the forefront of tracking which cabinet member was going first. There you go. Wow. I was about to jump on the grenade, and here we go.
I was gonna say, so I can't. I wish I could take this and rewind it a week and see what the numbers were, and I'm sure I could if I was on the website, but I can't right here. Okay, so here we go. Kristi Noem first, and then we're looking at who's next. Pam Bondi
and Kash Patel.
Oh, Tulsi Gabbard. Totally forgot about those controversies too. Sean, now that he has gotten rid of one person, does it make it more likely that he is not going to hold back if he's feeling like he wants somebody else out?
Yeah, once you do it to once, I always say, I mean, and please don't no one say that this is like a call to, I have a phrase that people around me know that I use, which is once in a while you have to shoot a hostage, which is to make the point, politically speaking. You have to show people that you're willing to do certain things to prove that you're not just talking. And I think what he did yesterday was show no one is sacrosanct here. If you screw up, if you go off course, we will take care of you. That being said, I don't see anybody who fits that current bill. I think to the discussion that we just had about Noem, it wasn't just one thing. It was multiple things, and then it went over the top, and it was too much. So
I think almost everything we talked about with Noem, you could say the same thing about Kash Patel.
I was going to say, bring that poly market up.
The plain stuff. The story, Sean, about all these people guarding his girlfriend when the own FBI agents are saying it's totally unreasonable. The notion that they've pulled people off of cases, that he fired the people who were investigating Iranian domestic terrorism here. I mean, he cannot have much goodwill left in that building.
Okay, maybe not in the building, but there is a huge difference when you talk to, you know, people in the inner circle, people in the White House when it comes to Kristi Noem and Kash Patel. A lot of them think that he was justified in a lot of this, you know, travel spending, like whatever. They think it's justified. Whereas with Kristi, it was always like, oh my gosh, if we could just fire her, we could just get rid of her, get the president to get rid of her. But guys, just very quickly, because we got to move on. Who do you think would be next? And do you think
Kash Patel?
Okay, so Kash Patel's right now 46% chance that he's
I think Kash.
One. Sean, I know this is not a question you love, but you got to give me an answer.
I mean, I would say, like, the problem is that if you ask me on any given week, it changes. I mean, like 2 weeks ago, I would have said Lutnick, but he's
his buddy.
He's been below the radar. I look at this list. I mean, I have a tough time, to be honest with you. I mean, seriously, Dan Scavino, there's a greater chance of aliens coming down, abducting everybody, and fighting Iran than Dan Scavino ever leaving. Like, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm going to
tell it is.
I don't know. I wouldn't put my money down on any of this right now. I don't know. It's a tough call. This week, I think we got it. Let's do it next week, and we'll see.
I would say Tulsi, but
no, again, it's not. She's not rubbing. There's no friction.
But the question here is who will leave the Trump administration before 2020?
Oh, who will leave? I'm sorry. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. There's a difference between being fired and leaving. Oh, that's interesting.
Okay, but
different.
Let's move on, guys. We still have to talk about Markwayne before we move to our next segment here. Okay, so Markwayne Mullin, just if you guys, don't know him, I mean, you probably do. A lot of our viewers probably do. He's on TV all the time, top surrogate for the president, often on the Sunday shows. He often plays this sort of like quiet role behind the scenes between Democrats and Republicans when they're trying to strike deals. He has like these weird like relationships that just extend throughout both chambers because he was a House member and then became a Senate member, and both parties. Like, he would go work out with Democrats. He'd go, to dinner with Democrats. He's just sort of got his fingers in everything. So typically I would say someone like him would be pretty easily confirmed, Dan, but this is not your average like confirmation time, right? Democrats are getting pressured from the base on DHS. They want them to hold the line and to grill whoever's going to be the next secretary. Fetterman right now is the only one supporting him.
Yeah,
other Democrats will.
A few others will. He'll get through. But you're right. The days of, no matter, they could put Jesus Christ up and he would not get, more than a few Democrats. It's just DHS is still shut down. They still are irate about ICE, and we'll get to the Democrats on the supplemental. But
we got to go.
It's so intense right now. Yep.
Yeah, totally. That's the quote, by the way. They wouldn't confirm Jesus Christ himself. Okay, let's move on to Iran, since we have a lot to discuss here. So there is no doubt about it right now that Iran is taking a beating, right? The leadership is decimated. The military infrastructure completely destroyed. There was reporting overnight that the Israelis blew up the late Ayatollah's bunker. But victory for a lot of these members of the regime is a lot easier, just to be frank. All they have to do is survive in some capacity. I mean, they've actually been waiting for this. They have a deep and broad bench of leaders who can emerge if there's a decapitation of their leaders. They actually have a plan for succession here. And there's reporting by the Washington Post that the ruling structure in Tehran is surprisingly still strong and very resilient, according to some of these insiders they talked to. Dan, you flagged this story. Clearly, you're concerned about them waiting this out.
Well, I think the question is, it's going to start to boil down to who has more will and patience, because I think, look, it is not a small group of like 5 people and is, we've taken out the top 70 leaders. Well, there's like a couple thousand, and it's a big country, and they are dispersed into the population, into these cities. So as you said, they win if they survive, because we could take out the nuclear bombs and the missiles, but they're going to just start resuming what they were doing prior.
Right.
At the same time, on our side, you have, we keep saying there's no regime change, but literally we're talking about picking the next regime. You have the employment numbers that just came out today. You have the political problem. Sean and I, we've all talked, like, at best you hold your party, but you're probably not energizing your party. So if the Iranians turn this into a slog of, can you find us all over the country? If we're still talking about this in May, is the United States willing to pay $4 for a gallon of gas and have the president continuously talking about this? This is where it's like, does Trump ultimately declare victory here and get out? So if victory is whatever he says it is.
So that's a good segue to the president, because he told Axios NBC yesterday that he wants the entire regime leadership structure at least to be removed. He personally wants to select the next leader. Just like,
but we're not doing regime change, just so you know.
I know. Don't call it regime change. Oh yeah, sure. And he said, he told reporters, or I can't remember which reporters, he's still doing the phone calls, by the way, that he has names in mind for a good leader after previously saying a couple days ago that some people they identified had been killed by the Israelis. He said now they're taking steps to make sure those people are not killed, and we are watching them. Sean, like, this just seems so complicated, because if you want to defect and the president is encouraging people from the regime to defect, come get immunity, come to our side and you won't be killed. But when they pop their heads off, aren't they just going to get blown up? Like, how does this even work?
Well, I mean, look, I don't mean to flash back to a few weeks ago. We were talking about this. When you get presented with all these courses of action, the easy part to some extent is taking out the capabilities. I mean, it's very precise. It's, here are the targets, fire on them, take them out, right? I mean, both military, government, and then some civilian things like runways and things like that. That's not the hard part. I mean, this is like Iraq Gulf War. I mean, going in, shock and awe is, I mean, I don't mean to undermine the great work of the military, but like, that's the planners have been doing this for years, getting ready to whatever the target is. Here's what we need to do. And you saw it in both Midnight Hammer and Absolute Resolve, like previously. Like, that's the easy part, if you will. The hard part is the what's next. And we talked about this being the issue, that when President Trump was sitting in the Situation Room or the tank and saying, okay, then what? And they all go, yes, that's the right. That's the one question they couldn't answer. General Kane was rumored to talk about this. So I'm just saying, like, this is why, you know, you don't make these decisions lightly, because you can't always answer that second question.
I think the other question, though, Rachel, is what are you saying? So we want the Iranian people on board. We want them to rise up, right? What do you think is now happening in Iran? If it's the United States is going to pick our leaders and run our country, for a country that for 50 years has heard we're the devil and evil. Okay, let's say not everyone believes that. But if you walk the streets of Tehran and said Jerusalem and DC are going to pick your leaders, I think they'd say, yeah, we don't like that. So I don't get what I mean, I know what he's doing. It's the Venezuela model. It is the idea of, I'll pick it, I'll run it. We'll take the oil. We'll tell it can't go to the Chinese. You can do this. You can do that. Good luck. I mean, really, we're going to run Iran.
We should point out just very quickly, Sean, just
regime change.
We should point out that there has not been, I mean, just a few weeks ago, we were seeing all these people in the streets rising up. I mean, it has been pretty quiet. Like, we haven't seen people out. And it could be because we're bombing. I mean, like, literally, like, why would you want to go out there? But,
right.
Like, there hasn't been a big defection yet either in the revolutionary
the internet is down. I mean, they're not getting, I mean, part of what, you know, to Dan's point, there's a little bit of fear. Like, I go out in the street, I'm like, gosh,
shot.
2, 3. I mean, both in terms of like incoming and then the regime. There was a woman on one of the news stations when I was flicking around yesterday that they had said, we're not going to identify her. And she said, everyone in the regime has a gun and we are all worried that they will kill us. Like, and the thing is, they shut down the internet, so they don't know.
So how do we help these people rise up if we're not there, right? I'm not advocating that we need to be there, boots on the ground or anything, but like, this is just why the situation is so impossible, so incredibly difficult. Like, how do you
look in the history of mankind? The idea of doing it through the air only has not really been successful. I mean, maybe we will, but I also go back to one of the talking points on the right is trust Trump, because look at his track record. The longer this goes, that becomes a harder thing to sell, because the track record has been you're in for a few hours, not days, not weeks, and you're out, right? With victory defined by the end of that day. Right now, they can't. I mean, again, they keep saying no regime change. We're clearly changing the regime. And everyone is saying, when is that going to happen and how are you going to achieve it? And that is the problem.
Let's move on, because we still have 3 more topics. Great discussions today, but a lot to get through in the next 25 minutes. So congressional Republicans on the Hill are expecting the White House to ask for supplemental funding for the war. There is reporting that it's apparently about a $2 billion cost a day. There's some suggestion that the ask could be as much as $50 billion for an initial request. Dan, you were texting us about this, and you said you basically had some free advice, which is like, look at history here. That should be constructive for Democrats and how they posture in terms of how they vote on this supplemental. Speak to that.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's really remarkable is if you're on Blue Sky or following people on the left, the line is being drawn. I mean, it is very harsh that you 100% absolutely cannot provide funding. And any Democrat who pops their head above water, whether it's somebody commenting or an elected official, the whole hive is coming after them right now. And I think this when you look at 2028, you look at the pressure within the party already over Israel and AIPAC, and now the idea of providing funding for this war. 2006, it was the same thing. Even Barack Obama voted for funding up until 2007. And then the party talked about conditioning money, not cutting it off, but putting strings on it. They're not even talking about conditioning now. It is outright, you must not provide any funding. And I think the problem is the party now is going to risk beginning to look totally unhinged.
Anti-truth.
Look, I'll tell you this.
Crazy.
I agree.
Any Republican that's smart in this campaign, if you guys vote no as a party, that means both DHS and the military you've said no to.
Correct.
I would construct every ad to paint everyone. You already saw, we talked about this yesterday with Tallarico being painted as a guy who wouldn't stand. I mean, obviously he wasn't at the State of the Union, but the imagery of this is the party that won't stand for America. I have a feeling, I'm with Dan. I think the problem right now is the party is in a corner because the base won't allow them to vote for DHS.
Totally.
It won't allow them to vote for the military. But if you're a Republican, this is your chance to put your foot on the pedal and to say, this is the opposition. Like when we look at what we need to win in the midterms, it's not just what you're doing, it's painting the other side as untenable. And right now, I think what we need to say is this is a party that won't vote for Homeland Security or for the military, regardless of where you are. If you're a Democrat, I mean, again, the old school Democrat and the old school Republican could say, I don't agree with this mission, but I will never not fund the men and women who support who are in our armed services. I will give them every resource. Like I will vote no on the use of military force, or whatever, but I'm going to give them. Yeah. The Democratic Party is crossing a very dangerous line going forward right now.
Well, and it goes to the idea of what Trump said in the State of the Union, which is reopening the southern border, right? The party starts to look weak, that we just don't do strength and protection and security. And that frame can start to get sticky if we are hell no to everything.
Yeah.
And
well, by the way, again, I'm not in the business of but if I were back at the RNC, I'd go, first, they wanted to defund the police. Then they wanted to defund the Department of Homeland Security. Now they won't fund our military. Correct. Those are today's Democrats. Vote no, Democrat. Vote Republican. Dial
support.
And somewhere Roy Cooper's like running for the hills with that message. I mean, it's deadly in North Carolina. John Ossoff in Georgia. I mean, just
right.
You guys have just given me my idea for my next column. Thank you very much. I will be quoting you both in one of my next Substacks.
Can you do it in that voice?
Okay, let's move on very quickly. John Fetterman. So the only Democrat, like we said, to come out to support Markwayne Mullin so far is John Fetterman. He is trolling his own party on not supporting the war. We know he polls better with Republicans than his own party at this point, right? Yep. There's always been chatter around him. Will he ever leave the Democratic Party and join Republicans? I'm skeptical. Dan, what's your take on this?
So, I mean, I think the fascinating thing is last week, Josh Shapiro would not commit to supporting him for his reelection. Fetterman has always been, comfortable going against the party, but watching him the last year and now the last couple weeks, month, his tone is getting more mocking of the party. He's getting more aggressive, kind of saying Jesus Christ, you guys are, failing the sanity test and things of that nature. I'm beginning to wonder if he is going to leave the party.
Become an independent, though. Not.
I guess, but I don't see how he would win if he became an independent. I mean, if the question is who would he caucus with, and I think that's where I don't know, Sean. I never thought he'd leave. I thought it was silly. I now wonder.
But wait, can I just say, if he goes to the Republican Party, though, all of a sudden he's not as loved. The reason he is so loved on the right is because he's a Democrat who's, speaking the truth and telling the party to go shove it. Like, if he becomes a Republican, all of a sudden he's a rhino.
Yes. And that's the thing, is that he is Joe Manchin of this cycle. He is not he is loved by us because he hates his party. He's not loved by us because he actually supports Republican principles or America First objectives. So the second that he flips over, we'd say, "Oh, well, are you pro-life?" No. Okay. I mean, you go down a litany of issues, and he fails the test. So we love him because he craps all over the Democratic Party and its leadership. I think that's the line, though. I don't want him in my party. I want him to stay exactly where he is.
Seriously, you would not want him. I mean, would you want? Did
No,
you
I
not
want a hardcore conservative in Pennsylvania. I want a partner to Dave McCormick that actually will vote for. Like, if he flipped over, he'd be the same guy he is now, which is I mean, you get the same version, which is I think my party's weak on these things. Here's what I don't want.
You don't want Susan Collins or Murkowski or
no. There's a big difference in Pennsylvania. We can win or win a race. Murkowski, sure, she should go. Collins is the only Republican that can win in Maine. Murkowski, though, you could get a real Republican in Alaska.
All right, guys, let's do winners, losers, and what we're watching. Let's start with winners. Dan.
All right, my winner, we haven't said this in probably a decade. It is the neocons. To see Condoleezza Rice on Fox News talking about it's like, welcome back all the neocons. They are having a moment talking about finishing the job in the Middle East. I never thought I'd see it in the Trump
by the
world.
way, what's so beautiful, I'm glad you brought this up, Dan, because what I think is funny is that yesterday somebody was like, even Mitch McConnell voted for a guy like Trump who is getting crapped on for doing all this. It's amazing how many people who don't like Trump that are saying he's doing the right thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so good on you. I'm actually going completely out. Dan, I don't know who you're flying out to LA, but yesterday, I think it was United Airlines put out a new policy that said that you must be wearing headphones. I am 100% making them my winners for this. I cannot. It is number 4 on my pet peeve list. Anywhere you are, I was walking in a hotel or a restaurant / within a hotel on the way to Journey the other day, and this woman sitting there having a speakerphone conversation. Unacceptable. I'm
with you.
So United Airlines banned playing anything that you don't have headphones on. Good for them. Lead the way. Everyone else should be wearing headphones in America.
Headphones and keep your shoes on. That is the other. I cannot stand people take their shoes off, put their feet up on that. It's like,
that's unacceptable.
I might be the mother who allowed her toddler to listen to some Bluey very quietly on the plane.
No. There is no very quietly on a plane.
I agree.
We try to keep headphones on a 3-year-old. It's not easy.
Hey, I don't want to hear Bluey. I've heard it enough.
Sorry. No Caillou, nothing.
Okay, my winner for 2 reasons is actually Chris Lasafita this week. This is former president's former co-campaign manager, worked very closely with Susie Wiles to get the president reelected. He backed John Cornyn. Everybody thought Cornyn was gonna, trail Ken Paxton by a long shot. He actually beat him by a small margin. And now there's reporting that the president's going to endorse Cornyn, although he hasn't yet. So, put a pin in that.
Friday evening.
The other reason he's my winner this week is because his most loathed government employee is now out, and that is Corey Lewandowski. Corey was brought into the fold during 2024 during the campaign by the president, tried to elbow Lasavita out, got really ugly.
Wait. Didn't just try to elbow one out. Accused him of basically stealing money from the campaign to pad his own coffers, which in Trump world, Sean, correct? Rule number 1.
Well, that was the own thing, money.
It got really ugly, and I had this scoop at the top of Playbook right after the president won re-election about Corey Lewandowski going up to Chris Lasavita trying to make peace and saying, congratulations, and Lasavita basically said, F you, and get away from me. Anyway, so good week for Lasavita.
Can I say this? Look, I will say this. I will agree with you if it's winners of the week. I will just say this, and I may have had this conversation with Chris at the time. Trust me when I tell you that I'm trying to think of the most polite way to say this.
Both sides play the long game.
No. I will just say this. If you've looked at Corey's history over 10 years, they always say that after a nuclear war that cockroaches survive. I'm just saying
they both play the long game.
This is not he will be. Trust me when I say this. No matter how much that guy, he will be back. And on the on the former. The one thing I've talked to since Tuesday, there isn't a MAGA person in the Texas world. Everybody who has watches the Huddle has literally, that I know, at a very personal level, has called me and said, "Are you serious? There's no way that he's serious about endorsing Cornyn." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's what I hear." I'm telling you, I don't think, I think this is another short-term sugar high. Like I don't know. This may be like what comes of this endorsement. If it comes out, I don't think that the Paxton team is going to roll over. I think they are going to. They showed this with the Save Act little play the other day that, hey, if Cornyn will back the Save Act, which he never will, in terms of the talking filibuster, I'll drop out. They're being very smart about this. I'm telling you, I think that Paxton is going to defy the odds in a lot of ways.
Wow. And then Crystal Lasavita will be in trouble for getting the president to endorse him.
That's what I'm saying. Remember to put a pin in this conversation.
We got what to watch for. Let's save some of this here.
Yeah, okay.
He might be the winner of the week.
We need winners still. Yeah, winners still.
Oh.
No, Sean said his winners.
Oh, no,
I'm sorry,
loser
of the week. I'm sorry. Yes, it's Friday.
Yeah.
Loser of the week. Sean, go. I know you have.
I got to tell you, this is to me one of the most disgusting things going on. In Virginia, there is a woman who was killed at a bus stop, stabbed to death by a man who has been arrested over 40 times. He is being let loose by Abigail Spanberger or refused to turn over. This is the local ABC News reporter reporting on this. Take a listen.
I have an update in the Stephanie Minter case. That is the Virginia mother who was murdered at a Fairfax County bus stop, allegedly by an illegal immigrant named Abdul Jallo. I heard that police warned the Fairfax County prosecutor, who dropped numerous charges against this man in the past, that he, if he was allowed to be back out into the community, could do something like this. So I submitted a Freedom of Information Act request seeking the communication between the police department and the prosecutor's office, Fairfax County Commonwealth's Attorney Steve Descano's office, and I just received the results of that FOIA back. And what I have here is an email from a police major in Fairfax County dated November 15th to the Fairfax County Commonwealth's Attorney's office. I'll read some of it to you. It says, I want to bring Mr. Jallo's release to your attention because Mr. Jallo is one of the repeat and violent offenders we discussed when we met. I wanted to get your background on why he is out so soon and ask if his prior suspended sentence of, I believe, 5 years was pursued by your office. It goes on to say, and pay attention to this, unfortunately, based on the station's numerous dealings with him, it is not a question of if, but rather when he will maliciously wound, or worse, again. My role of keeping the public safe prompts me to follow up on his status.
So we can jump out. Let me just explain what's going on. The Department of Homeland Security has put a detainer on this individual and asked that he be released. Abigail Spanberger stepped in the way and say, if you want that, you need to go to a federal judge and get a criminal deportation order. The DHS's thing is, well, guess what? It's not a federal crime. He stabbed someone in the Commonwealth of Virginia. It's a state crime. The federal judge has no jurisdiction. And Spanberger said, well, until you come to me with a federal deportation order, I am not releasing him over to ICE. 40 arrests, stabbed a woman at a bus stop, and Abigail Spanberger will not sign off on this. Early voting starts today in the redistricting case. Say no to Abigail Spanberger. Go out and vote. This needs to stop.
Sean, you turned this into a campaign ad. My goodness. I will say I live in Fairfax County. It's terrifying. And this is an issue that, like, I just wish this should not be a
By the way, I love in the chat, one guy says, Sean Spicer is lying. I'm like, lying? That was the ABC News report. What am I lying about?
Well, I think that the fascinating thing on a more macro level about Spanberger is that, there have been all these attacks, right? Sean has talked about some of the legislation in the state about tax increases, the story about was it Boeing is Lee or not Boeing, but who is it?
Boeing is leaving.
Boeing's leaving. And Spanberger's kind of taking it. She is interestingly not really fighting back against this. And Michael LaRosa, who watches his show sometimes, has been documenting, like, what are you doing? You are not standing up for yourself. I think they believe some of this won't stick, but my gosh, something at some point is, and it's for someone who they talk about as president or vice presidential material. We talked about Josh Shapiro not standing up for himself during the VP vetting. she's taken a lot of incoming.
But-
And I'd be concerned if I were her.
Dan, the thing that's fascinating to me, to your point, like I try to, she can't run for re-election because Virginia doesn't allow it. So I just figure she's positioning herself to the far, far extreme left. But to your point, what I find odd is that she's not out there championing it. She is between the tax increases, the redistricting, and keeping people who kill people on the streets. Why not go out there and be the champion of the left then for all these leftist causes, as opposed to sitting in Richmond and hiding?
Loser, Dan.
My loser is Josh Shapiro. The response of the party on Israel and the volume that, it's going to 11 on the funding. We've always talked about, can a Jewish, American become the Democratic nominee in this environment? I feel like the bar is getting higher for Shapiro right now, given the just watching how unhinged the party is. He's going to have to really figure out a strategy to deal with this.
My loser is Kamala Harris for endorsing Jasmine Crockett and showing how much juice she does not have. Okay, maybe if her team was advising this, that shows she doesn't have a good team with a good political
I know where Dan's going, by the way.
I don't know, because here's the thing. Black women are the most loyal bloc. And
so she had to do this. And she would look bad if she didn't.
I think, well, it's not that. I think it's that she stood by her. Right. When the rest of the party crapped on Jasmine Crockett, Kamala Harris went and endorsed her. And I think if Jasmine Crockett turns around and endorses Kamala Harris, and Jasmine Crockett and other young, active, women leaders endorse Kamala Harris, she's the only potential real female. I see the logic, because the people who are laughing at her were the people who were laughing at her before she did this anyway.
Yeah, so, good point.
What we're watching very quickly.
I'm watching Texas. Yeah. I think Trump's going to say something tonight, Friday night. You kind of try to bury it a little. And Sean took my thunder. I'm watching the Paxton response, because I don't think he's getting out, and I think he believes there's a path.
Agreed. I'm glad Dan brought that one up, because I'm watching two things. One, Navy won last night in its basketball quest to be Patriot champions. They might go to the big dance this year. Go Navy. Sunday night's the next game at 2:00. But the big thing I'm watching, and it won't break this weekend, the case, I think it's New Mexico, against Meta and Mark Zuckerberg testified yesterday, and I think or the day before. This is going to be monumental in whether or not social media companies are held accountable for the damage that they've done. This will set the tone. I believe that, as always happened in big tech, big ag, big food, this is going to, I think that the lawyers are going to tie this thing into knots on this. But if Zuckerberg and Meta lose, this will open the floodgates for a countless number of lawsuits that are coming their way, and potentially get us back on the track to saving the next generation of Americans.
I'm watching Republicans chasing their tail again in the House about a reconciliation bill. Apparently this is coming up. Punchbowl reporting this morning that Johnson wants to do another partisan bill. Not going to happen. They don't have the numbers. I just don't understand.
They don't even have the ideas.
Right. What do you put in the bill?
I don't know.
Every time I ask, you can't get agreement on that. What do you want to put in? I don't know.
All right, let's take some questions. All right, from Twitter. Do we think the Fed finally admits they were wrong and cut rates with the new jobs report? Or are they determined to strangle the economy just to prove themselves right?
Well, I respectfully disagree with your question. I think they have a dual mandate: low unemployment and stable pricing. The pricing side, they just can't get down to that 2%. Now, some people think they should stop focusing on 2%, but look, inflation is so politically dangerous and economically dangerous.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good question. I think that's why, obviously, President Trump wants to get Kevin Warsh in there as soon as possible. But I think between now and May, I wouldn't expect much.
Yeah. Let's take another question. Okay, here's Tim. Question: isn't it about time for you to discuss the 9-0 Supreme Court ruling and solidified the legacy of Article 1 administrative judges?
I got to be honest. Tim Callinger 4902. I didn't even know about this. So you're right. We should discuss it, or I need to learn about it, and then we can discuss it.
Okay. On Monday. Flagging for maybe next week.
I apologies. I don't even know.
I wrote it down, Tim.
Yep.
We're coming back to you. Okay, let's
Yep.
take another. Robert, hi. Question. Will Markwayne Mullin, bring the role back to the way it was intended, heard but rarely seen, mainly in the background?
No.
No, it'll be a different type of performance in the spotlight. Like I said, like he has fiery moment. He does have fiery moments, but like he's always out there talking about the president and touting his agenda and what Republicans are doing. Like he's going to be out there as well.
I just think that's not Trump's leadership style. Love it or
he
hate
wants
it.
that. He does.
He wants people out in the media advocating for his positions.
Yeah, just don't be an idiot and wear a cowboy hat and like ride a horse in front of Mount Rushmore on a campaign ad. I mean,
I believe
won't
we're
do
supposed to now call it a cow person hat. But I will say that I think the difference, Dan used the pronouns correctly there. You're supposed to advocate for the president's agenda, not you. And the idea, and I think even Senator Kennedy was hammering that, like, he said something to Noem about like your name ID is probably like the idea that you're riding around on a horse and you're doing this in front of Mount Rushmore. It wasn't a good ad. I mean, like, again, I think it was a Chamber of Commerce ad. Look at how beautiful America is. You should come here. Like that didn't deter anybody. I was like, hey, cowboys and Mount Rushmore, I'll come. It was not good. It was a waste of money. I think Markwayne Mullin gets it. And so it's not even the way it was intended. I think just understanding the role, which is it's never about you. If you're in government service, your ultimate goal is to serve the president who was elected.
Let's take another one. Okay, question. Why did 53 congresswomen vote against congressional transparency on their sexual misconducts? There's not even 53. No.
So Democratic know what? Okay, so there was a vote put up the other day to release all of the settlements that have occurred.
They already had that vote. I didn't realize that already happened.
So there are 50. So I believe what Jerry is asking here is there were, he's breaking it down by gender, but there was
why
a very bipartisan vote to not release any of the details. So
what was that final vote?
It was like 160 to 1. I mean, like it was very high.
It's mutual assured destruction,
right?
Is what it is,
exactly.
Right? Like,
and also, and what this comes down to is so that, like, look, in every commercial workplace, people sue all the time. Like, I was wrongfully fired. I didn't get whatever. And Congress is no different. And the difference is obviously just like a workplace, they don't do it. Now, it's our tax dollars being used. The argument and again, Jerry, I'm explaining, I'm not siding, that many of these members gave is to say, well, if Susie sues Congressman Smith because something happened in that office, under the understanding that it was confidential, and the agreement was when you release all that, it's like the Epstein files. Now, am I becoming a victim? I think there's a way to release it, like, to be blunt. I think that was a cop out of an answer by the members. But for obvious reasons, Rachel alluded to this. It's mutually assured destruction. They all basically are like, I don't want to air our dirty laundry in public, even though it's tax dollars.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to hurt both parties. So, okay, let's move on. Let's take another question. Okay. Welly Wynn, question. If Thomas Massie wins May 19th, is that a worse day for La Vida Speaker Johnson or President Trump?
I mean, it's one member of the House. They
have staked so much on this, taking him out. It would look bad for them.
Given everything going on right now, I mean, here's the thing. MS Now will hype it, but conservative media will act like it didn't really happen. And I
got to be honest with you. Massey's sort of like, he has very strong ties in his district. He has survived a threat before.
Yeah.
I think the opposite is true. If Massey goes down in the primary, that to me will be the real, like, that's the opposite. I actually think that if I had to guess, considering Massey's tie to his district, how much money he's like, I actually think if they overcome this and they take him out, that will be the signal that, like, again, that's everybody else better get in line. I think that's, to me, the opposite is true of this question, which is if he doesn't survive, I would be very concerned about the president and his team coming after me. But they've made it very uncomfortable for him. No question.
Yeah, it's like a very libertarian district. It's like he's perfect for that district. I mean, yes, they love Trump, but they also like love small government and, like, they like what he's doing, just generally speaking. But I will say, like, Bossa and the president, like the president's political team, they have put a lot of time and energy going after this guy. And if
I'll tell you what, by the way, one
know,
story that we don't talk about, watch the president's truth feed. It's these Indiana senators that didn't go along on redistricting, and he is supporting that's the other one that, again, is flying below the radar. But his team is making sure that all of those state senators that screwed him feel the heat.
Let's take one more. Okay, thoughts on Cuba siege. Will we see refugees on rafts washing up on Miami shores before we allow them to have fuel again?
I mean, for those who haven't seen it, Trump's starting to become more and more public about what they want in Cuba. And look, it would be an amazing thing, from John Kennedy to, Joe Biden. No one's been able to dislodge the regime there. It's 90 miles off our coast. It basically used to be Las Vegas in the Caribbean back in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. If they can do it without bloodshed, U.S. bloodshed, great. But, oh, man, it's another country. We're talking about regime change. We are.
Well, I'll tell you two things. One is I played a clip on my show last night of Marco Rubio talking about regime change in Iran in 2015, how like he has been on this. You want to talk a guy that is he could probably go back. How old's Marco? Like 54. Like, I think since that guy got out of the cradle, he's been talking about regime change in Cuba.
Definitely.
So I think that having him in your ear, but the key part to this question that I think is interesting is, will we see refugees washing up on the shore of Miami?
Totally.
That's the key. Those guys, that freaks out a lot. You talk to the people in Miami-Dade County, like this is a big deal.
I mean, what happens? Do we rush 20 billion into Cuba to stabilize to prevent that? Now you're asking for, 40 billion for Iran, 20 billion just went to Argentina in a bit. You can see the campaign ad starting to get written.
Yeah. By the way, I'm going to tell you this. The one thing that doesn't get noticed, we always talk about, like, Cuba has a very specific immigration policy, wet foot, dry,
yes, they do.
Wet foot, dry foot. They step on shore. The law says they get to stay. So
there you go. Something to watch. Okay, we're out of time. Sean, what do you have coming up?
Something else to watch tonight at 6. John Solomon joins us, and I've chatted with John. I'm going to tell you this right now. Potential bombshell coming your way tonight at 6 about an upcoming investigation involving the FBI.
Ooh, there's a tease. All right.
There was something else I was going to say. Yes. Guys, don't forget, if you're a premium member, Sean is going to be on right now. So jump off, look for the Zoom link. You should have it in your inbox, and he will keep taking your questions. We will see you guys on Monday. Have a good weekend.